Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Wellness Warriors podcast. I am Coach Suzanne Penn, and I'm with Coach Suzanne Baker.
Hello, everybody.
So, Suzanne Baker, I'm going to let you kind of lead off on what we're going to chat about today.
Sure. You know, this just came to me. I mean, I know we talk about what kind of talks we're going to have on our next episodes, but this right here just really touched me. And I think it'll resonate with a lot of people, especially nowadays when there are so many diet programs out there, and that's in quotations. And it's incredibly hard to figure out what to do. I mean, you get advice from everywhere. I mean, you can go to Dr. Google and get advice, but where I just want to know, I want to ask our listeners, where do they get their advice, their information when they're wanting to start their health journey? They woke up one morning, they're like, I'm done. I want to feel better. I want to look better. And I'm tired of being tired all of the time. And what can I do? Who can I turn to? So the question is, who or what influences your health? And there are good influencers, and then there are the bad influencers. And the bad ones, in my opinion, are um, people who are trying to push um, an unhealthy program on them, and it doesn't work because it's not sustainable. So, and then somebody would say, hey, go do the cabbage soup diet, or do what's another one? There was one where you just shake some powder on your food and it was supposed to magically make all your food taste bad and you won't eat. I can't
Oh,
remember
was
what that
that
was.
ally or something? A lie or ally or
It was
something?
something like that. I can't remember,
Something.
but
Yeah, where you
I
would
mean,
shake those things on your
oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And I have fallen for it. I have done some of those programs. And it's
and
just not sustainable.
no. And most people have. That's the thing. Most people before, you know, they've come to me as a health coach, like when I have someone come to me, they have done pretty much everything
Hmm.
and then things and like I thought I knew had heard of everything and it's like no, it never fails that somebody will come with something else and I'm like what is that?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And social media, including all the platforms out there, they're no help because it those sites have conditioned people to have to look a certain way. And we're looking at their lives and we're going, oh, I want to be like her, I want to look like her, which we can't. In reality, that is just not going to work. And so we may try that, and then we it's going to fail. It is set up for failure. These diet programs are set up to fail. That's why they want you to come back more and come back again. And what does it do? Messes with your brain because you're like, am I not, I'm just not, my body is just broken. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not, your body is not broken, for one thing. And
No.
then the bad habits will start coming back in, and we're like, oh, well, I've had a rough day. Maybe I'll eat a cookie or a piece of pie, and I'm just going to blame it on that. I'll start back again another day, which
Mm-hmm.
honestly, we're human. We're going to do that, but you don't want to get in that mindset of staying stuck in that rut. Yeah, it's okay to have that cookie, just don't, or a piece of cake, just don't eat the whole cake. We've talked about this,
Yes.
before on our episode, on our podcast here. But
Mhm.
nowadays, the hot new thing is that dreaded weight loss shot, and it comes in different forms. And I firmly believe they are not any good. I mean, they're not good for your body. They're just not, and they're causing harm and a lot of health issues. So, I have to ask, why would you take something that's going to potentially harm your body. I mean, I,
Well, they get in desperation. So that's where, like, most of, like, even myself, like, when I've done something completely ridiculous, it was out of a desperation place.
mhm.
And it's also out of a place of manipulation
Yes,
because the things that I've done have been presented to me like, we're different. This'll, this'll make it right forever. You'll lose your weight for you lose this, you know, heavy weight forever. And basically it's promises that, for one, aren't even proven. And for another, though, at what cost? Like, they don't tell you the cost. I did, you know, Optavia program before, which is horrible because you're basically starving. And I'm sorry if someone's offended that I said that, but I did it. And I know the harm and the horrible things it did to me and what I had to do to fight for my health afterwards. And
right.
I care about people, so I have to be speak up about it. But there were things, I have like a history in my family of people with gallbladder issues. Do you think they mentioned when I got on it that this could potentially cause gallbladder issues? I Do they talk about the fact that it can deplete your bones? No, they don't talk about these
Mhm.
things. The only thing they talk about is, oh, you might have some gastrointestinal stuff. You might
Yeah,
get
yeah.
constipated. It went way deeper. But the thing is, I had to do it for myself. And I know people that even sell the stuff that
Mhm.
it's they even admit it's hurt them too, but
Yeah,
they
yeah.
can't let go of the financial gain from it. I mean, they've built their lives on it.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so I get it, but I don't want to, I'm kind of going off a tangent there, but back to thing, but I see it's the desperation and it's how they present it. They make these huge promises, and when our friends are saying it and our family is saying it, we're like, oh, it's got to be true. Or if you're some reputable person from your church is saying it, or,
Mhm.
you start to like, oh, I got to try that. And the thing
Yeah.
is, there's just because they're saying it doesn't make it right. And they put it in this really pretty packaging in their words, how they describe it. And
Mhm.
now with AI, it's really an issue because
Mhm.
the
Yeah,
the person you're seeing on screen might not really look like that now.
that's
And
right. That's right.
and I'm kind of, when I see people using it for their profile pictures on Facebook now, I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
it's not good. And like I said to you one time before, I saw before and after pictures that were being used to promote that program that were from when I coached for them 4 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And do you think those people still are that way? Why are they using photos from 4 years ago? I don't think, and they're using it like it's just happened and they're my client. And so we're getting influenced by all that we're seeing. And one of the things that these companies do is they show you that kind of stuff every day. That's why you see these before and after pictures every day, because
Yeah.
the more you see it, the more you'll be like, oh, yeah, I want to look like that. Oh, wow, look at these people. And then you start to your mind just starts to get really manipulated, and you're seeing it every day. And then you might even start, especially Christians are known for this. Oh, it must have been a God thing that I've seen
Mhm.
this every day. No, it's their company's way of marketing, that they show it to you every single day, and they know you're going to start asking questions eventually.
Yeah,
And
it's false advertising. I mean,
but
they're just
that's with not just that program that I had done way back when. It's with all of them, even with
Mhm.
the shots, they're out there putting it off like, oh, this is like amazing. But yet nobody's talking about the horrible things that are happening to people. And here's the bottom line: anything that is rapid weight loss and making that promise of this rapid weight loss is not sustainable. I don't
It
care what
isn't.
they, not sustainable. And especially if it's connected to a product, if they have it connected to some product, you will never sustain that without continuing that product for the rest of your life. It doesn't
Yeah, for
matter
the
what
rest of your
product
life.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what product it is. And the statistics say that 97% of diets don't last. The results don't last. They're not sustainable. So a 3% success rate is going to make you spend thousands of dollars. I can tell you now that my health is so much better than it ever was by the lifestyle changes that I've made.
Hmm.
And I don't have to worry about every little thing. Food isn't the villain to me anymore. And
Right.
um, so, yeah, I eat healthy the majority of the time. But if I
Yeah.
go to a celebration and want to have the piece of cake, then I can have that without feeling like, guilt and shame and all the,
Right. That you haven't messed up your whole entire,
yeah,
journey. I
but I can
mean,
eat that. And guess what? It doesn't affect my weight. It doesn't affect how my clothes fit. It
mhm.
doesn't, because my body knows and trusts that I'm going to care for it well now, that, I'm not going to do all this crazy stuff. But we're inundated through TV, through social media is the biggest one, because everybody's seeing that
Yeah.
many times a
I
day.
mean, you think back to well, let's start over. 80, I think it's around 87% of the American population have type 2 diabetes. And, there's all these fast food restaurants, they're everywhere, they're popping up. We're getting a Dunkin' Donuts in my town. Like we need it. I mean, it's another way to keep people sick, in my opinion. But just like with the Subway, I mean, who said, "Oh, let's go eat a whole loaf of bread and you can
And you're
lose
going to
weight"?
lose
I
weight.
mean, yeah, I mean, that's just does not make sense. It does not make sense. And when I asked you, it's like, what is wrong with eating whole foods and drinking water? I mean, what is wrong? That's what our ancestors did. They didn't have all these restaurants. I mean, there's restaurants and doctors' offices and medical offices, dialysis places popping up everywhere. These things weren't around a long time ago because we didn't need them, because that's what it is. They're pushing us and pushing us to get more unhealthy.
Mm.
You go to the doctor, hey, I don't feel good. Oh, well, here, take 3 or 4 different kinds of medicine. Has it ever cured anybody?
Mm-mm.
No, it has. If your doctor says, here, take cholesterol, metformin, whatever, have you been able to get off of it? Absolutely not. You are still paying that monthly fee every month, or you may get your medicine free. I don't know, but still, there are companies making money off of you. I
And
don't care.
most people on insulin, metformin, those type of things, they're actually, if you notice, they're getting heavier and sicker.
Yes. Yeah,
So,
and then your doctor says, "Oh, hey, exercise, eat less and exercise more." I mean, that's not the answer, because, well, that's a whole nother
well,
story.
I mean,
But
we're not going to say that exercise and eating healthy food that, obviously have benefit, but yeah, it's
if
not,
that if they
it doesn't
say
really
here,
work. It
no,
doesn't really work the way that they present it.
yeah. And there are dietary medicines, but can be reversed. I mean, it absolutely, you can reverse your type 2 diabetes. Don't fall for I have to take this the rest of my life because it can be reversed. That is one of them. Um, and when I was talking about the whole foods, I mean, and drinking the water, this stuff was provided by God, right?
Yep.
I mean, he's like, here, he didn't say, here, go eat at a fast food restaurant and eat all the sugar you want. That is not the case. I mean, he gave
No.
us real food. And that reminds me of the story in the Bible with the Israelites and
Mhm.
how they started complaining about the manna that they had to eat. And I'm thinking that, I mean, that's what God had for them. It was nutritious. He gave them everything they needed. But I feel like that they came across some rabble rousers because in Numbers 11, it's like we learned that the rabbles or the people who are stirring up the masses has like, hey, that's all you're eating. I mean, why can't you have anything else? Well, why won't you? Those are your bad influencers, right? Those are like your friends that say, hey, let's go out to eat, but let's only order junk food and stuff like that. I mean, they're your friends, but that's not what you want to be doing,
Mhm.
all the
Well,
time. But go ahead.
yeah. And the influence of here's a perfect example of where we have problems because you know how many times I had like people I have coached who um now are trying to change their way of eating.
Mhm.
And they'll tell me they've gone out with their friends and their friends will order something like that's not the most nutritious. And they're like, no, I'm not, really, wanting that. And their friends actually will ridicule them for that and
Yes.
be like, "Oh, it's not going to kill you. Come on. We're out to have fun."
Mhm.
and I don't know that people realize how often they do that to people because I've seen it too. Like, oh, offer a piece of cake and they'll say, "Oh, it won't kill you." But guess what? To a type 2 diabetic, that piece of
Mhm.
cake may actually kill them. And so
Mhm.
it amazes me. Like I've heard even, oh, you can have that cookie. All you have to do is you can take a little extra insulin later. Like, really?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I've
this
heard that
that's
one.
why
Yeah.
like peer pressure, especially in this
Mhm.
health thing, is a big player as well. Like your family
Yeah.
even. Like your family's like, "Ugh, y- you're gonna eat that? Oh, come on, you can eat this." Or like how many times have I heard the grandma stories? We love a
Oh
grandma,
gosh.
we love the grandmoms, but they'll be like, "Oh, have this Edamons." And, you know, no, maybe you
Yeah.
shouldn't have the Edamons. And a lot
I
of
have
times,
lots of grandma stories. Trying You go
yeah,
over there to visit,
eh,
they're just pushing food at you.
yeah, and I've heard it, and so, but people a lot of times do they're take food as love, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Again, why God's so important because we need to find our love in Him and not in our food. But
Right.
it's the influences out there, and especially in social media, TV, but even in our own circle of friends. I mean,
It's in
I've
family.
gone
Yep.
to I've gone to church events and the amount of I mean, the dessert table was bigger than the regular meal table.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, we base our lives around food. If we have, birthday parties, weddings, even funerals, people will bring food to the house. I mean, everything we do is based on food. I mean, everything, even the beginning of time
Mm.
in the garden, and
Yeah.
Adam and Eve, it was based around food. I mean, but
As
God.
the garden shows that food
Mhm.
wasn't always a positive thing. Like there
Right.
was to be a negative
That's
consequence,
right.
right?
God said, this is what you have to eat. Stay away from that. This is what you can have. But the Israelites, they were like wanting more. They were like, we
Mhm.
want meat. We want some meat. Then Numbers 11:5, that's what they say. And they're like, hold up, we ate fish in Egypt at no cost. I mean, these people were slaves in Egypt. Okay. They were not just free people there. That's why they left. But yet they were not content
Mhm.
to eat what God had provided for them. They wanted
But
to go back to where all the other stuff was, but still they were slaves. They were
but you,
slaves. They,
but you just made a great point here that they were willing to go back into captivity
yeah, yeah,
so that they could have this. And that's what's happening
yeah,
in our world today. People
yeah.
will go into this captivity for this thin idea, right?
Right.
To be
And that's
thin.
exactly that's what's happening today. I mean,
Hmm.
we're holding ourselves captive, I guess, just so that we can look a certain way.
Hmm.
Um, it's so important to stay connected with God in your health journey. And that's what I love about being a Christian health coach. And I know you do too, because there are so many scriptures in the Bible, so many passages that go back to how we should eat, how we should live, and God does provide for us. And that's what I love about it, is because we're not having to worry about what diet program to be on, and how much money we have to spend on, you know each week on this and that, to get all these different supplements. Recently someone just gave me a whole pack of, here, I'll mark, I can find it. I'm not going to show you the name of it. There's a whole pack of little um electrolytes or something, I don't know what it is,
Oh, okay.
to try. And I tried one, and I mean, honestly, the first minute I tasted it, oh, that's pretty good. But then it started tasting bad and I had to pour it out. So I talked to this person. I'm like, I just can't do this. I can't. I mean,
Mhm.
my water is just fine.
I mean, I just listened to a thing last night that I was invited to that was supposed to be a wellness thing.
Yeah.
And when they started talking about, oh, don't eat peas and don't eat potatoes and they started with the don't eats. But yet we've got this powder that you can use. I was like, I'm out, I'm out
Yeah.
because when we're telling people to not eat God created things
Mhm.
and use this manufactured powder that and say that that's better for you, that there's a problem. And I know maybe that's not what they were trying to say, but that's how it came off.
Yeah.
And like I said, I didn't stay to listen to any more because that was enough. I
But
was like,
yeah,
I'm
you
out.
have to really do your homework on, and I'm not saying that supplements aren't help. You have to know what's in
There's a
those supplements.
place for them.
You're right. And as Christian health coaches, we do have a section in the program where we do talk about supplements. Because if you're not getting what you need, I mean, yeah, that's fine, but just to rely on supplements as your entire food group,
Right.
that is just so detrimental to
Mhm.
your body. And that's why we say with these shots, I mean, people take these shots and then all of a sudden they can't eat. That's not good. Your body has to have food for fuel. It has to run your brain. I mean,
Yeah.
but
Well,
that's,
there was an ad just for that shot that was saying, "Oh, you don't have to change how you eat." And I thought, "Oh, here we go."
yeah, yeah,
Like how
that's
it,
right.
and it looks really appealing because then people are like, "Oh, I don't have to do the work. I don't have to work out. I don't have to change what I'm eating." And while okay, the outside might look a certain way, but the inside of you is becoming a hot mess.
Yeah, if we could just look inside of our bodies and see what's going on, I promise you, I guarantee you, all this stuff would disappear.
Yeah.
But since we can't, you have to
Same.
rely on where the truth stands, and the truth stands in God. And that is
Yes.
where that's who I'm gonna follow. He is the creator, and you know how wonderful it is. And I'm just
And
looking out the window. The sun is coming out as we speak, and it has been rainy all day long, and now the
yeah,
sun is shining. I know that's God right there. It's like, here's
yeah,
the light.
yeah.
But
And the thing is, if you know, having somebody to guide you along the way, and that it's not pushing any kind of particular product on you or anything like that, that's what us two Suzannes are for,
yeah.
like Christian health coaches, especially
Mhm.
because we don't just approach it with just food or
Mhm.
just weight or just whatever. We are, body, mind, spirit. We're about
Mhm.
nutrition, about exercise, about your mind and how you think. Like we are, you know, about hope in your health and your healing. And
And food
we
freedom.
yeah,
Mhm.
food freedom's a big one. Small steps. Those are the
Mhm.
things that we are about. And action, taking action that will get you to feel better.
Yeah.
I can't say you're going to lose whatever, but the bottom line is you do these healthy habit changes. And I'm not always saying, and when I say healthy habit change, I want people to understand I'm not talking about taking everything away from you. Like I like to start with addition, we're going to add
Yeah.
some things, right?
Right.
And then it's interesting because as you add them, some things just automatically start to come out. You
Mhm.
didn't even force, really maybe intentionally do it. It just happens. And then the results, a lot of times, especially people looking for weight loss, these healthy habits have side effect of weight
Mhm.
loss a lot of
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Weight loss is the best one.
But for a lifetime, not for this quick moment and have all these other internal issues. Because what good is losing the weight if now your insides are damaged and your body is going to gain the weight back and more? Because it happened to
Absolutely
me.
right.
And now I've been able to maintain my health and my weight and things like that with no diet,
That's right. I
and
mean,
but yeah, let us guide you.
yeah, exactly. I mean, link arms, and that's exactly what we want to do is to link arms with you. Be if you need an accountability partner, I mean, that's what we're here for, and so much more, and so much more ways that we can guide you into this. Along with God, his God, He's gonna make a way. I
Mhm.
mean, honestly, I would love to just eat nothing but processed foods all day long. They taste good, right? I mean, but I'm not because I know that it's not going to be good for me. I know that down the road it's really going to wreck my body, and I don't
And
want to be that person that's sitting
yes,
being sedentary and just ugh, feeling bad and
but I've found since I stopped with so much processed foods and junk that actually the whole foods,
mhm.
they taste so good, actually. They taste better than they ever did. And I actually will crave a vegetable, who would think, right? And I actually craved kale the other day. Like, who would
That's
think?
right.
And
That's right.
because you can prepare things in such a way that they do have flavor. I mean, I made what was some seasoned kale, like right in my air fryer. It didn't take long at all. And it was
Yeah,
so tasty. Oh my goodness, it was so good. And who would think? But that's the thing when you stop eating this overly salty, overly fatty, overly sugary stuff, it
mhm.
allows you to get that amazing flavors from the whole foods. And
Yeah, the
so,
benefits,
yeah.
the health
So,
benefits that come along with eating, this whole food. I mean, and that's
yeah.
the only way I can put it is whole food. I mean, people ask me, what is whole food? I want to know. Well, it's anything that God has created is whole food. If it's in a,
Closest to its original form.
right, if it's put in a, if it's boxed and oh, I had a client ask me what bioengineered means. She saw some on a box. And
Mm,
I was like, yeah, that's made in a lab, and you want to
yeah,
stay far, far away from it. I
yeah.
mean, why are they bioengineering our food? And she's like, well, I didn't buy it. I just saw it. And I said, your best bet is to not even buy anything that's in a box. Go around the perimeter of the store. Start in the fruits and vegetables and around the meats and stuff. You want to stay away from the center aisle, the center part of the store, because that's where all the processed stuff is. Start
Yeah.
there, you know,
Yeah,
and you'll
but
feel
that's something
good.
they can learn through the coaching, like to work
Yes,
with a coach. And
yeah.
that's what
And
it's
that's just
helpful.
one of the many things that
Yeah.
we teach through this. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And we don't just tell you what to do. We work with you and
Yeah.
you make the decisions. We're just
Mhm.
there to guide it and you get to make the decisions. We don't make them for you.
Yeah.
Now,
I had
obviously, if you need suggestions and things like that, absolutely, we'll give them to you because some people have no idea and they'll be like, I don't know, but then there are other people that are like, yeah, I would like to try this. And so
yeah,
we work with you in that way.
it takes effort on their part. I mean, but it's worth it. It is worth
Yeah,
it. I mean,
yeah.
honestly.
So, so share how someone could get a hold of you if they wanted to work with you.
Sure. So you can find me on Facebook, Southern Grace Wellness, or you can email me at southerngracewellness@gmail.com. Those are two of the fastest ways to get in touch with me. I check my email very regularly. I check my Facebook very regularly. So yeah, and you can message me and be glad to connect.
And I'm Coach Suzanne Penn, so you can find me as Suzanne Penn on Facebook, or my website is Radiant Bloom Yoga and Wellness, and my email is Radiant Bloom Yoga and Wellness at gmail.com. So, and please, reach out even in the comments of this podcast.
Absolutely.
We'd love to have a conversation. Thank you. Anything last words, Suzanne, before
I
we
don't, yep,
sign
I
out?
don't have any. Just want to tell
Okay.
them to have a great day.
Yes. Blessings to all of you, and we'll see you in the next podcast.
Bye.